Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to a video we're going to be talking about how a loft sleeve adapter works. Drivers, fairwaywoods and hybrids, they near enough all now come with different variations of loft sleeve that you can change the lie, the loft and face angles and stuff like that. And sometimes it gets a little bit confusing as to what loft does to lie, what lie does to face angle and stuff like that. So we're going to go into the differences between the offset camber loft sleeve that I've got here in, say, the Mizuno, very similar to, say, the Srixon or the Cobra and other manufacturers as well. And then you go to these ones. You've got dual cog for, say, Callaway, and you've got, say, for 11 Golf, the drive that I've recently just done. Again, click up there if you want to have a look at this one. Triple COG system. Yes, triple. It gets even more complex. Now, what they basically do is you change the settings on these, and whatever stated loft that driver has as standard will move depending on what the loft sleeve adapter does. So we'll go over to the offset camber loft sleeve first because it's the easiest one to explain, and then we'll reference what happens on the dual cog at the same time. How does the loft sleeve adapter on a offset camber loft sleeve work? So it's very simple. You've got a shaft which is fairly straight, and then without getting too technical, that loft sleeve adapter, I'll take the head off so you can see it a little bit easier. So that loft sleeve adapter is not sitting straight on that shaft. It's designed to sit offset slightly. So if you imagine you've got a straight shaft like that is, and this adapter goes in on the wonk, slightly a few degrees off. Now that depends on the manufacturer. Some are 1 or 2 degrees off, 1.5 degrees off, obviously because different manufacturers have different amounts, so you can actually change the loft, lie, etc. on the actual adapter. On the Mizuno, you can move it a couple of degrees. Now I think it works out more like 2.25 degrees, so 4.5 degrees in total when it comes to its adjustment. A big advantage on the dual cogs and triple cog systems over that of the offset camber loft sleeve. I'll get to that one right at the end because that is quite a big advantage for when it comes to adjustment. We've got a standard loft which is on the marking there, and that means that the adapter for loft is basically directly straight in line. Now as you move the adapter around, and if you can imagine if you were to put the end and just hold the end, what would happen as you rotate it, this shaft would bend around like this. Now, okay, I'm exaggerating, it's not that much, that's quite a few degrees, but effectively that's what happens. And what that means is when you get the golf club down by the golf ball and then you move the shaft around when it comes to its offset camber loft sleeve, it will change its loft, its lie. Now, there are two distinct things that we have to keep in mind when we're going to be doing these changes, and you have to take these as assumptions that you always do. If not, you completely and utterly negate any changes that you make. One, whenever you set up to the golf ball, whatever your stance, posture is, and however it would be, your relation of how you have your shaft leaning forward, leaning back, or not leaning at all, has to stay the same. Because at any time, even if you don't change the settings on the head, if you constantly change how you address the golf ball, you are going to be showcasing, at least at the golf ball at least, before you swing, a different amount of loft, a different face angle, different lie potentially as well. So everything has to be the same, has to be set as it's going to be this. And the other thing is we have to think about is the face angle. Do you have your face at target? Do you have your face closed or open as a standard amount? Not necessarily at target, because not all golfers set their golf clubs up at address at target. Whatever their target is, because a lot of people actually have their face closed as a standard, as their normal, that's how they've just learned to do it and it works for them, and no different to some have it open. So the whole idea, whatever you do as a standard, as a normal, you keep the same, and then any adjustments that you make to this loft sleeve adapter has a change in loft, lie, etc. We have on this a standard amount. It will go up +1 loft, +2 loft, then it goes into lie settings, +1 upright, 3 upright, 1 upright, then down to its lowest loft setting at -2, and then -1, and then standard again. And if I got the dial for this, I'll pop it up on the screen there so you can see. It's easier to understand what the differences are when you can actually physically see it. But if you need to understand how the golf club is going to react when it comes to changing the loft and lie, you have to understand what the head changes are happening as soon as you change loft, for example. As you change loft, so I'll put this head back on, and I will stick it on the standard amount. That is at its standard setting. Now, as soon as you have that set at standard setting, that golf club will sit with its sole on the ground as normal, no problems whatsoever. It will sit as it's designed to sit. As soon as you start changing the loft, what happens is that you add loft or take loft away. It effectively makes the head look more like that as an exaggeration for adding loft, and like that as also an exaggeration for taking loft away. But what that does is that makes the golf club sit differently. As in, if I was to now want to take loft off, what it will do is it wants to open. No different, if I want to open up loft, it will want to shut it down. And so you have to understand that because of the fact that it will want to do its little thing, you have to then still let the loft sleeve do its thing for adding loft, taking loft away, but you still have to have the face looking at target. If you don't do that, then you will again negate the differences that you have when changing the loft sleeve. Now when it comes to the lie, because of the fact that you have that offset camber loft sleeve that rotates around and wibbles around like this, depending on how you set it, you can actually get the golf club set either more upright and in some cases flatter. So different manufacturers have an option for upright, and a different manufacturer, say for ping, they have on the opposite side, they have flat settings because just different manufacturers decide to do it differently. Ping are more upright to start with, so then they want to come back down. And the likes of say Mizuno, they start off with a normal flat-ish setting with the option to go upright. Now remember, lie, some people don't think that lie makes a difference with drivers. Lie effectively makes the loft look left and right depending on where that loft is pointing through lie. And I've done this with an iron before, where you attach a metal pointer to it, and as you move the head up and down by shaft only, not twisting the face around and round, but just moving the shaft up and down, you can make the loft look left and make it look right. So that's starting direction, etc. Now because a driver has not that much loft, people think that it doesn't make that much difference, but it does. And the reason why it makes as much difference as does irons is because this goes further. The golf ball is staying in the air for longer. So when it comes to say a sand wedge with loads of loft, lie angle differences would make the biggest difference. However, it's going a quite a short distance relative to this. And so they all do make a difference. And so you can change the lie angle, which will have a reflection of where that loft will look. As a general rule, upright will always make the loft look closed left for right-handed golfer, and then more flat will make the face look a bit more to the right. And again, this is very much so, if you were to change your perspective of how you have your hands drooping, or you push your hands upright or lower, whatever it would be, at address different to what you normally do, then you negate all the changes that you make. So anything that you do on these, absolutely you have to do with your standard posture position. If you don't have your standard posture position and you want to up the loft, so you want to make the loft look more like this way, but then you drag your handle further forward, taking all that loft off, negate the point. No different if you want to de-loft it and have less loft showing, but then you have your handle far back and display more loft again, negated the point completely. When it comes to the offset camber side of things, you can change a slight this and a slight of that depending on where you are on the clock. Again, I'll pop up the little thing onto the screen there so you can actually see what differences you can make when it comes to changing a little bit of lie, changing a little bit of loft, etc. on the same one. So you can dial this in quite well. What these are really good at though is when it comes to the hybrids and the fairy woods. Not only can you change obviously loft when it comes to dialing in your distances between hybrids and fairy woods, etc., that you can actually dial in shot shape depending on what you want when it comes to say your fairy woods or your hybrids. Let's say you want a draw biased fairy wood or draw biased hybrid, but you want to make sure you get the right distances. What you can actually do is go to the hybrid lower down, which has got less loft, which goes further, but then add as much loft as you can, which generally speaking makes the golf club look a little bit more draw biased. And that means you can get the same distance that you want, but make it draw biased, rather than going to a lower one, cranking it down, but would then make it fade biased. So that's a great thing with the offset camber loft sleeve from a fitter's point of view, and generally that's all fitting, that's not necessarily the consumer does that, the fitter would do that. It's a great way of dialing in every single one of your golf clubs. Now, when it comes to dual cog or now triple cog systems, is they have the exact same changes that you can make when it comes to an offset camber loft sleeve, but with one massive advantage. Every single time, and I'll show you this if I can, no I can't really show you because it hasn't got a logo. A lot of golf grips have logos. So we've got Super Stroke on grip on this one. Some have Golf Pride, some have, there's many different types of grips. And you'll have the classic logo at the top here. Now, on a logoed one, a Golf Pride one for example, now this offset camber loft sleeve has not got no logo. It's a 360, no logo whatsoever. The only bits you've got are top eye on the lambkin, which you wouldn't pay no attention to. As you change the loft and lie on this, obviously it rotates around the head, which means obviously the head doesn't rotate, doesn't turn 180 degrees, but the shaft does. And what you can find is quite commonly that you change your loft or lie on your driver or your fairy wood or whatever it would be, and it will change where the logo goes. And so the Golf Pride will be halfway around the grip or underneath the grip, depending if you're going to change lie settings. And that can be off-putting for a lot of golfers. They have a certain point of understanding, well, on my irons, I get my V with my bottom hand right where the Golf Pride is, and I set myself there. And as soon as I've now changed the loft on my driver, suddenly the Golf Pride's around the corner, and it's just a bit off-putting. Now that is a little bit of a pain in the backside, I will admit. Generally speaking, when it comes to changes to drivers, if it's going to be a permanent change, if it's going for a fitting or it's going for a coaching session, and you've determined that the best way of getting the most out of your driver would be to set it to a certain setting, would be then to go through the pain in the backside of actually getting the grip taken off and then reset back to where you would like it to be. So that is one thing that you have on offset camber loft sleeve. When it comes to the triple cogs or the dual cogs like Callaway, etc., no, you can change the settings on here and it makes no difference whatsoever to where that logo points. That's a massive, massive advantage with one over the other. Now, of course, they're all slightly different, etc. One has more adjustment than the other. This one, as like the Callaway ones, have a certain amount up and down, like plus you can go up by 2 degrees and then down by 1. Where the likes of, say, the Mizuno one, because of the amount that it can move over a dual or triple COG system, can go by nearly 4.5 degrees. You have your standard 9.5, 8.5, 7.5, or it's actually 7.25 because of how it rounds, but I won't bore you. And then you go 10.5 and 11.5, or 11.75. Again, how it rounds, so I won't bore you. But you have a little bit more range of movement in a, say, an offset camber loft sleeve, over the fact that you have that of a dual cog or a triple cog, but the triple cog or dual cog system gives you that advantage of not having a twisted grip when you do change your settings. So that's the main difference between the two. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go on, thumbs up. YouTube's like it, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It is great for the channel if you could subscribe, so thank you. And next to that is a bell icon. That is a notification bell. If you click that one, that will let you know next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well. We'll see you again soon.